What is up, my bodyweight warriors, and welcome back to another video and another My Top 3. This week's top 3 is on my personal favourite ring pushing exercises. The original suggestion was just on my top 3 ring exercises, but I thought there's so much diversity and interesting movements that I'd split into pushing and pulling movements. So this is the first of a 2-part video. Just to clarify, the exercises in today's video are really my top 3 fundamental exercises for building strength on the rings that will transfer into more advanced moves later. So I wanted to share with you some of my favorite exercises that I've used along this journey into improving my ring strength. As always, guys, if you want to suggest the next My Top 3, leave a comment down below. The most upvoted comment or commonly commented comment will be the topic of the next video. Let's jump into my top 3 ring pushing exercises. My first ring pushing exercise is going to be the ring tricep dips. The reason this exercise is in here is probably the best progression for the ring dips and also the ring support hold. I was first introduced to this exercise in the Body by Rings program by Fitness FAQs, and that was mainly focused around mass gain, but I did find it pivotal in increasing my stability on the rings. In terms of form cues, the most important thing is that you properly lock out the rings at the top. We want to have those rings turned out to about 30 to 45 degrees so we can condition that brachialis as well as properly lock out the rep. For this exercise, you're going to position the rings between 30 and 50 centimeters off the ground. The first progression we're going to be looking at is with the bent legs. This is going to be the easiest progression, and it's going to take a majority of the weight off your hands and allow you to stabilize yourself a little bit easier to get used to the rings. We're simply going to perform a tricep dip, moving from that fully locked out position as deep as we can go into the dip and then back up again into that locked position. From here, we want to move and extend our legs out in front of us into a straight leg position. This is going to be slightly more intense and slightly less stable than the previous position, and we're going to perform the same movement. And finally, moving to the hardest variation, we're going to be looking at having our legs elevated off the ground. You can vary the height here. Generally, the higher it is, the harder it's going to be. We're simply going to have our legs out straight again and perform the exact same range of motion, again focusing on that lockout. You're going to want to perform this exercise for anywhere between 6 to 12 reps depending on your goals. If your goals is to build stabilization in that ring position, I recommend performing 6 reps in any progression and then moving on to a harder progression. The next exercise is the ring archer push-up. This is just one of my favorite exercises to perform on the rings, as well as being really powerful at conditioning straight arm strength for moves like the planche, the back lever, ring flies, and even the iron cross. Just some form cues before we get started. You want to make sure you're locking out and turning out those rings at the top of each rep, just the same as the tricep dips. You also want to make sure you're locking your arm out and keeping it straight where possible. You can bend at the elbow, but just be aware that you won't be getting the same straight arm conditioning. The easiest variation is going to be simply performing the movement with the straps for the rings at about a 45-degree angle. You're going to start in that front support position with the rings turned and your arms locked out. You're then going to start the movement with one arm bending and the other completely locked. Sink down towards the arm that is bending while pushing the other ring away from yourself, but still using it to assist in the movement. You're then going to reverse that movement, moving back into a neutral front support position with the arms locked. The next progression would be looking at performing a kneeling rep of the standard arch push-up. Again, this is going to add a little bit more load to that arm, but still not as much as the full rep itself. We're going to perform the exact same movement, again ensuring that we lock out on each rep. And then the final progression is simply doing the archer push-up itself. It's worth taking this one slow, as straight arm and tendon conditioning takes a little bit of time, but it's definitely worth including in training. Again, you want to perform this for 6 to 12 reps depending on what your goals are, and you want to perform this in total. So if you're performing 12 reps, you'll perform 6 reps on each side. You can do this in an alternating way, or you can perform all the reps on one side before moving to the other. The final exercise I want to recommend is the ring support hold. I'm not really sure if this is a push or a pulling movement, as if you lean more forward, you're going to activate more delts, pec and bicep, and if you lean further back doing something like an L-sit, you're going to be activating the lats, traps and triceps more. However, it is just a fundamental position when training on the ring, because you're going to be using it as a starting point for many movements and even a transition point. I do recommend that before performing this particular movement that you should have at least a solid support hold on the parallel bars and maybe a little bit of experience with that tricep dip support hold variation. As for the form cues, we want to make sure that we maintain locked arms at all times, and we should be depressing our shoulders. You also want to maintain a slight hollow body by keeping your glutes, core, legs all tight and also pointing your toes. The easiest progression is simply going to be a ring support hold with neutral hands. So here we're not going to be turning out the rings like we were on the previous progressions. We're just going to be focusing on keeping those arms locked and depressing those shoulders and balancing ourselves through the ring movement. The next progression is with the rings turned out hold. Simply we're going to go from the same position and turn those rings out to about a 30 to 45 degree angle. It's going to help condition those elbows as well for that straight arm strength. Again, focusing on the same form cues of locked arms, depressed shoulders. This progression is really a fundamental progression for any ability and is still used by elite level gymnasts. From here we can move on to some more advanced progressions such as the L-sit or tuck L-sit, or if you're an absolute beast, the straddle L-sit. Although I recommend experimenting with these, you want to make sure you have the initial rings turned out hold absolutely nailed for future rings work. As for reps, you want to be working up to 30-second holds, and once you can hold a solid 30-second hold, you want to increase the difficulty of the movement. But that is it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed these 3 fundamental exercises that will be used to essentially build strength in tendons and ligaments and movements that can be advanced onto those more advanced ring movements. As always, guys, if you want to suggest the next topic for my top 3, then leave a comment in the comment section down below. Thumbs up the topic that you want to see. If you just enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button and support the channel. If you have a friend who's just starting out on their rings journey, then maybe share this video with them. But that has been another My Top 3. Have a strong week, guys, and peace.